Now, if you are an Iranian supporter, you may not like this news, to be honest with you, unless you are an objective Iranian supporter. But if your own is out of religion, you will hate this news. You will hate it. So for those of you that are mature enough to understand that, sometimes pressure like this must happen. Now sit back, bring your seat close. Let's talk. Let me explain to you the real situation, in Iran at the moment. All right. Now, Iran is dealing with two things now: the Chinese buyers and then gasoline. Now, let me explain that. And then maybe one thing that the president said that people are misinterpreting. So let's talk about these three things. First of all, the Chinese buyers are pulling out. Supply yesterday dropped from 1.4 million barrels of oil per day to 534,000 barrels per day. Why? Because US threatened secondary buyers, those that are supporting Iran. And then some people now started saying that Chinese government, China is already withdrawing. China is not withdrawing. Independent firms from China are withdrawing. It happened last time US imposed a particular sanction when they said about 5 Chinese firms were under sanction. And the Chinese government had to come out and say, ignore them. Did you hear that? Good. So there is a distinction between Chinese government itself and Chinese independent firms. And that was why last time we could say that China was going to supply Iran some man-part, what they call them, air defense systems or whatever. And then the Chinese government came out and said, we're not aware of it because, excuse me, they could use independent firms to deal with Iran. Do you understand? So the hope here is this: the Chinese government can intervene. So if it happens, because they've not come out to assure these independent firms, so you don't expect me to run my own business, private business, carelessly. Do you understand what is happening right now? So if Iran is having issues with someone that's stronger than me, and my boss has not come out to cover me, so I have to be very careful. And of course, what we're expecting, if there are new sanctions imposed on Iran, are you expecting them to just recklessly come out and do business with Iran? No, they have to observe the atmosphere. Take note, the sanctions have not been implemented. In fact, how will the US even implement them? It's not going to be easy. Look at the map, look at the borders. It is not going to be easy. What is happening right now is just the fear. That fear alone is making them pull back. So let's see if the Chinese government will find a mechanism to buy directly from Iran, because they also need it. The independent firms are the ones that run the economy in China. Okay, so if this is happening, they will either come out to make a statement to assure them, because they've already made a statement. They call it illegal sanction, illegal unilateral sanction. So let's see if they're going to come out to assure these independent firms, or they'll find a way to buy from Iran directly. Because if Iran goes down, China will fall. China will suffer for it as well. All right. Now, yesterday, Pezeshkian made a statement. That's the Iranian president. He said that this war has to come to an end now, because obviously Iran has the upper hand. That was what he said. Now, I just paraphrase his statement. But I'm seeing online, people are saying that the Iranian government is coming out to beg that the war should come to an end. That's not what happened. And for some of you, when I make this statement, you say I talk about those who are opposing me. That is not how content is done. For instance, they came out to lie. We have to clarify things. It's not as if we're talking about them. All right? So is it easy for an average Iranian? No. It is not easy. The sanctions are taking their tolls. The sanctions are biting. But what were we expecting? They must bite. But does it mean that Iran is surrendering? No, it's far from that. Most time when things like this happen, give them 2, 3, 4 days. People begin to understand it. They study their way out of it. So mostly, it's not because they've even run away. Maybe they're trying to re-strategize. Do you understand what is happening right now? But the current situation right now is that the Chinese buyers are pulling back a little bit. All right? Good. And then Iran is also having to begin to to ration their gasoline. And then I saw on the news they said that Iran is rationing oil completely. No, it's not every type of oil. It's gasoline that is highly consumed in Iran that is being rationed. I think it started on the 16th. And the issue around gasoline, it goes beyond this sanction. Iran has always had issues with gasoline rather. Iran has always had issues with that. Far, far, far beyond this issue. Because it is heavily subsidized in Iran. For that reason, it is very, very cheap. And sanctions also make sure that they're able to replace their broken refineries. Remember the ones that have been destroyed as well. So they don't have the capacity to fix those things and produce gasoline at a very, high volume. For that reason, they must have issues with it. All right. So that is what is happening. So it's not as if you need other type of oil or in Iran, they're not available. But the one that is heavily used in Iran is the one they're trying to ration, meaning we are preparing for a long-term war. That's what it means. Let's manage what we have. This is survival instinct. Let's see how we can manage what we have. I'm just trying to be as honest with you as possible. That if you hear something else, it's a lie. That is what is happening. And of course, as I said before, when things like this happen, what do you expect? There'll be that immediate tension now. Good. But give them 2, 3, 4 days, 1 week maximum. They'll find a way to adjust. Now, as I said before, this is the last card of the US being used. Will they succeed? If they don't succeed, what next? If Iran is able to drag them for as long as possible, remember that Iran is not the only one that's suffering. Because as Iran is suffering, Iran is also keeping the Strait of Hormuz locked. The only time the US will succeed in this is that as Iran is suffering, the Strait of Hormuz is opened. Iran is not able to hit anybody anymore. The threat that comes from Iran is gone. But apart from that, as long as that Strait of Hormuz is locked, it is not only Iran that's suffering. I learned that the stock market in US also reacted yesterday. This video is too long already. The stock market also reacted in US yesterday. So it is not as if Iran is suffering and the US is free. No, all of us are suffering. It's just that there's somebody who is suffering more because he has been suffering for a long time. That's the Iranians. They've gone through a lot. The economy has been battered for a long time. I wonder how they're even surviving. But in spite of that, they've been standing and they're still standing. So don't get it twisted. It's not as if as it is biting Iran now, it's not biting them at the other side. It's also biting them. But who will survive it? That is what is happening right now. Who will survive it? Let's see how it goes. It's an interesting moment. Let's see. It's like a talk of war. You pull me, I pull you. Let's see who can break. For now, this will be the nose. What do you know?